Welcome, everyone, to Inside the Birds, our audio and visual mock draft 2.03. I'm Adam Caplan. On today's show, picks 22 through 32 and a quick review with new intel. Something happened. Giants at quarterback. We'll get to that in a minute and kind of what that looks like. First, a couple announcements. I will be hosting on SiriusXM NFL Radio on Saturday from 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern on Channel 88 with Zig Fracassi, who I've hosted now 21 years with Zig, usually on the weekend. So I've been on there in a while, so it's good to be back. Make sure you check out all of our great content that we put up this week. We did an awesome Patreon chat on Tuesday night with some new members, man. It was great to see some people we were not aware of. Great to see some new people, some new blood, as they say. Great questions, great back and forth. And you could become a Patreon member at patreon.com/InsideTheBirds. And by the way, you get everything commercial free on Patreon. So that's part of what you get, which is phenomenal. And also, we started the intel with Greg Cosell. We dropped edge rushers already. Later this week, the tackles and inside backers or linebackers overall. Next week, we'll start the offensive players. Just a word to the wise, folks. We're not doing 40 players per position. We're doing basically first and second rounders. Last year, what we did is with edge rushers, we got late information on Jalix Hunt. We were told by some good NFL people, you better start talking about him. He's going to go in the round 3, and he sure as hell did. And he's done a really good job with the Eagles so far. And he was sort of an outlier player because not a lot of people knew about him. I had a friend who's an edge rusher coach for an NFL team tell me he begged his general manager to draft him in the third round, but they didn't, and the Eagles got him. But it's very rare for guys to come out of nowhere like Jalix Hunt, who was a former safety and then became an edge rusher because he had a growth spurt in college that never happened. So anyway, that's that. Moving on now to 203. So let's go through 1 through 21 right now and give you some new information or any additional thoughts. Number 1, Cam Ward. I felt before the combine, it would be Cam Ward. Remember, they've got a new front office with the Titans at number 1. Chad Brinker. Geez, I've been around so long. I remember Chad Brinker as a running back at Ohio U. That's how long I've been around, man. I don't know Chad. Never met him. But I remember him as a running back at Ohio U. Now he's mid-40s or so, and he's overseeing personnel with Mike Berganzi with the Titans. So good luck to them. We're going to go with Cam Ward. Cleveland, it's real simple, as I said before. With Cleveland, it's Abdul Carter if the medicals check out. The betting odds, by the way, will add us heavily to Abdul Carter. It's simple. If the medicals, if it goes like I think it's going to go Tennessee with Cam Ward, if the medical checks out with Abdul Carter's foot and shoulder, they'll go with Carter. If not, it's got to be Travis Hunter. We're going with Travis Hunter here because we don't know the medicals yet. 4 weeks out from the draft. We're going with Travis Hunter here for Cleveland. 3, it's real simple. Well, not real simple. Let me explain it. Because it should be simple, but it's not. Let me explain this. So as everybody knows now, that the Giants are bringing in Russell Wilson on a 1-year deal. They have Jameis Winston. Ordinarily, it shouldn't matter for the draft. The draft is always about the future with an eye on this year, but it's all about the future, folks. Mostly about the future. If Shedeur Sanders is their guy, ordinarily, it shouldn't matter. You draft him. But because the general manager is fighting for his job, and if he gets permission, because ownership's always involved there, John Mara specifically, he's involved in every big decision. He's got to run it through John Mara. To me, it's simple. If Shedeur Sanders is the third-rated, let's say it goes Ward or Carter, Ward or Hunter. Quarterback always takes over any other need. It's just the way it is. They don't have a quarterback for the future. If Shedeur Sanders is the third-rated player there, you go with Shedeur Sanders. I don't care if they've got Wilson or Winston. It's nothing to do with it. It's about the future. But this is where John Mara's got to be smart. If you're going to let the general manager run the show, and if he's got Sanders there, stick with it. That's what they got to do. But you don't want to reach for a player either. If they've got Sanders 15th player on their board, but they need a quarterback, you don't draft him. If it's close, you draft him. So this is not easy. People think it's easy that, okay, they'll just go with Wilson this year, have Jameis back him up, and they'll draft another position of need so they can get better real quick. That's not the way you do it, but we'll see what happens. There's a reason why the Giants are in the position that they are, because they've screwed the draft up and they've screwed the roster up for years. But you know what? They're good at receiver. If Russell Wilson is the guy and he could find some magic, if they could protect actually a little better than they have in the past, maybe they could be an 8 or 9 win team. But we know it's not going to be Aaron Rodgers. He should be going to Pittsburgh, hopefully soon. All right, let's go to New England. Again, with Hunter off the board, it's Abdul Carter. At number 4 to the Patriots, number 5, Mason Graham. This is a need pick, a guy who should go in the top 10. I don't see a corner there that they would take. They need corner, but there's not a corner you would take. Safety, it's too early. Running back, it's too early. Edge, I don't see an edge rusher they would take. So we're going to go with Mason Graham to the Jaguars at number 5. Number 6, McMillan. We're going to stick with him, who's the best receiver for this draft. John Spytek was with the Bucs probably around the time that they drafted Mike Evans or just after, and he knows what Mike Evans has done. McMillan, I'm not saying Mike Evans is going to be a Hall of Famer, but similar skill set in terms of going big and can get the football. He'll go to the Raiders at number 6 for this mock. 7, Will Campbell. The Jets finally building an offensive line. 8 to the Panthers, Mykel Williams, best edge rusher, one of them, obviously, after Abdul Carter. To the Panthers, who need edge rushers badly, at number 8. 9, Jalen Walker, who could play inside or outside backer. Wait till you hear the show. We have a great discussion. Myself, Jeff Mosher, and Greg Cosell. Not because we talked about on the edge rusher show and the upcoming linebacker show. Guys will like that. It's a good discussion. We'll go with Walker here at 9. 10, Mike Green, one of the best edge rushers for this draft. To the Bears, his character's got to check out. He's out of Marshall. That's to the Bears at 10. 11, Kenneth Grant. They're really bad at D tackle. They can't line up right now for now or for the future. That's 11 to the Niners. 12, Walter Nolan, one of my top sleeper players for this draft. He's just a good football player. He'll go to the Cowboys at number 12. To the Dolphins, Membu, the guard tackle out of Missouri. To the Dolphins, who have a bad offensive line. 14. Well, let me just tell you, and I've got Tyler Warren in this mock going at 14. I got 2 teams already told me that they've got Loveland over Warren. I'm not saying, I haven't polled 32 teams, but it just goes to show you it's not as distant as people think it is. Like, it's Warren or nobody else. I don't believe that. But Chris Ballard will make the call. Right now, we've got Tyler Warren going here to the Colts. To the Falcons, James Pierce, the edge rusher out of Tennessee. Edge is a big need for them. The Cardinals, they need defensive help, folks. They're not good enough anywhere, quite frankly. We got Shamar Stewart going here, the edge rusher from Texas A&M. 17, I debated this one real hard because they need D tackles. They need offensive linemen badly. They, quite frankly, need to rebuild that offensive line. We're going to, with Kelvin Banks, one of the best offensive line for this draft. He'll either play guard or tackle. 18, Gray Zabel. I got their pick right last year for the Seahawks, picking around this pick. I got that D tackle out of Texas A&M last year for them. Not saying I know, but Gray Zabel, we're going to go with him, who's a tackle who could play guard. He'll play guard for them most likely. We'll go Seattle, Gray Zabel here at 18. Number 19, Barron, corner out of Tampa. They're not good enough a corner. It's a good pick for them. 20, Gentry. Everybody wants to know where Gentry's going to go. We got him going to the Broncos at 20. And there you go, the replacement for Javonte Williams at 21. Quite frankly, even if the Steelers get at 21 Aaron Rodgers, which they should, it doesn't preclude them from taking a quarterback. But the question that a lot of people have is, okay, Jackson Dart's going to go in the top 40. Does he go in the first round? Probably in the back. This, to me, would be the earliest. I'm not buying top 10. I don't see it. Not ruling anything out. Mitch Trubisky went in the first round, 2nd overall in 2017. My hair went on fire when that happened. Literally went on fire. But so you never know. But we got Will Johnson, and they need a young corner to replace eventually Darius Slay. And that's the top 21. Quick promo here from my friends at Stretch Zone. You know what's really cool, and this is what they've added lately. They've added what's called system-wide access, which I'm going to take advantage of. I'm flying to Florida to visit my mother, who just turned 95 in March, and I am going to take advantage of being able to use my credits at one of their in West Palm Beach. So I'm going to use that. So now if you're a Stretch Zone member for the first time in the history of the company, you could use your credits on your membership anywhere in the country. They're not restricted to the area where you live anymore, which is phenomenal. So there's 3 ways, by the way, to sign up. Do it in person at stretchzone.com. Get a free 30-minute stretch, which I did in December 2021. And I've been off and running, and it's why I feel great. And I cannot recommend them enough. Stretchzone.com. Love those guys. All right, let's get back to it. 22 through 32. The Chargers up at 22. The first mock we went with James Pierce. He's off the board. We'll go with Nick Scorton, the edge rusher from Texas A&M. They need edge rushers. Tui Pelotu is one of their guys. They've got a bunch of older edges on the other side. They need the young developmental edge rusher. Scorton's that guy at 22. Let's go to 23. Now, this is interesting because I went with Kelvin Banks. He's gone, obviously, because he's gone in our mock now. This is an interesting thing. It's not that they need a receiver. They need a big-time receiver. Remember, Christian Watson coming off a torn ACL. We're going to go with Luther Burden, who's a stud receiver. And by the way, the over-under for receivers, and depending which book you look at, is 2.5. I've got Burden being the third receiver to go off the board. I've got him out of Missouri, who I love. I've watched him since he was a young kid out of Missouri. I've got him going to the Packers at 23. At 24, in the first mock, we got a Marion Hampton, but remember, they made the trade with the Niners to get it back, and they obviously have Aaron Jones as well. So they don't need to do anything at running back right now. So we're going to go with Malachi Starks, and they need to get younger at safety. Obviously, everybody knows about Harrison Smith near the end of his career. So Malachi Starks is that guy. Number 25. Wow. What I find crazy about the Texans is a year ago at this time, they were 6 deep at receiver. They've been decimated by injury, and it's terrible. Nico Collins is a stud, but they need to help him. They also need offensive linemen because they've had all sorts of changes this offseason all of a sudden. We had Will Campbell, who's long gone, going in our first mock. So we're going to go with Matthew Golden, stay in the state of Texas, who had an unbelievable 40 time. He'll go somewhere in the first round. So we've got Matthew Golden going 25 to the Texans. 26, 2 of those Rams. We had Ibuka, who I'm told will go top 40 in the first mock. They are really bad at inside backer. They couldn't stop the run last year. We're going to go with Jihad Campbell, who you're going to hear about us talk about Friday on Inside the Birds when we dropped that show with Greg Cosell. Got him going to the Rams here at 26. At 27, the Ravens could use a young guard where they're not great. They could use another receiver, but they don't need to. They're not heavy 11 personnel. They don't need to do it, but they could use another edge rusher. They could use another safety, corner for down the line, inside backer for down the line. We're going to go with Josh Simmons, the guard tackle from Ohio State at 27 for the Texans. At 28, sorry, Eagle fans, Azir Aku I've got going to the Lions out of Boston College is an edge rusher at 28 to the Lions. At the first one, Membu, he's long gone because they could use a guard. Well, they got Mahogany, the other Boston College player, on the roster. He might be starting this year for the Lions, but we got Azir Aku going to the Lions here. Boy, do they need edge rushers in a big way. I don't know. I just don't see it with their edge rusher group. Honestly, when you look at the Lions situation at edge rush, you've got when I look at their group, you've got Hutchinson's a stud. He's coming from a major injury, but he'll be fine. I don't know why they brought back Davenport with his injury history. He didn't do well at all. He hasn't done well in years. He's been hurt too much. Josh Pascal's an okay backup. They brought out Quadin Muhammad, who's kind of a reclamation project, who's bounced around for a lot of teams. Honestly, I just don't see it. They need an edge rusher here, and I take the best one for them on the board, and Azir Aku would be that guy who's had a really good offseason, good Senior Bowl, big final year at BC. 29. This one was interesting because you know about the big trade that they got. They got the left tackle. I still think they need to look at their offensive line. They need an explosive playmaker now. If Matthew Golden makes it there, I take Golden because they need a big time deep threat, and Golden can run. We're going to go with Josh Connerly because there's nothing there you would take at receiver. Edge group. I don't. Again, Aziraku went. So we're going with Connolly, could play tackle guard for them, and it's about the quarterback and building around him. So that's there for the Commanders at number 29. 30, boy, the board got beat up. They need a corner. I got one for him. They don't have to do receiver. They've addressed it in the offseason. Curtis Samuel is stuck with his contract due to the guarantee there. The 4 deep. They need it. They have enough edge rushers, but they need a big-time edge rusher. They don't have one. There's not one there. They can use a safety and a D tackle. We're going to go with, this is around where the talk will go with Trey Amos, the corner out of Mississippi. He's got good length. They could use another corner. We're going to go with Trey Amos for now and for the future. And Mississippi 31. Boy, if Colston Loveland makes it, I don't see it because we went with Darius Alexander, who's an older player, but he's terrific. I don't, in the real NFL draft, I'd be surprised if Loveland makes it. I think I'm higher on Loveland than a lot of the fans are, but scouting people who Jeff Mosher and I talked to, they love Loveland. Not enough people, draft nicks, so to speak, are high enough on him as they should be. But for the sake of this mock, he's there. Out of Michigan, you've got now Travis Kelce's replacement. It'll take 10 seconds for them to turn in the card. If it happens now, to the Eagles, Aziraku is off the board here at 32 for the Super Bowl champs. There's one guy. This guy should go off the board in the top 40. I don't care what his athletic numbers are, folks. This guy will be the replacement for the safety that they traded, Gardner Johnson, to the Texans. This guy had 13 picks. Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame. And folks, let's not forget he started he didn't go there as a safety. He's relatively new to it, but he's a 2-time All-American. He's a great football player. 13 picks. None of them were fluky, I'm told, from scouting sources who've graded his tape. He's phenomenal. He's got to be in the conversation for the Eagles. Xavier Watts, the safety out of Notre Dame, is my pick here. So to finish it off, let's go to 22 for 32 again. Chargers, Scorton, the edge rusher from Texas A&M at 22 for the Chargers. 23 to the Packers, Luther Burden, the receiver from Missouri. 24, Malachi Starks, the safety out of Georgia, to the Vikings. 25, Matthew Golden, the receiver out of Texas. It's interesting. The Texans take the Texas receiver. 26, Jahad Campbell from Alabama to the Rams at 26. 27, Josh Simmons, the offensive lineman from Ohio State. 28, Donovan Aziraku, the edge rusher from the Boston College to the Lions at 28. 29, the Commandos, Josh Connerly out of Oregon. We'll get more I'll get more clarity on what his best position is for the next mock, which will be in about 2 weeks. 30, Trey Amos, the corner out of Mississippi, to 30 to the Bills. 31, Chiefs get Colston Loveland. If they get him, folks, I'll faint. That would be like unbelievable. Could happen. You never know what's going to happen. Strange things happen. That's 31 to the runners-up to the Super Bowl, to get in the ring. And 32, the Super Bowl champion Eagles get that safety to replace Gardner Johnson. Xavier Watts, the safety out of Notre Dame. All right, folks, thank you for listening and watching. We'll speak to you soon here. I'm Adam Caplan for Inside the Birds.